Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for ellenhudson.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am covering all things press plate. I hope to demystify this product for you and answer your most pressing questions. Pun intended, by the way. But I also want to show you one of my favorite new techniques using this press plate as well. So let's start out with a look at the press plate. What is it? Well, this plate was designed to use with your hot foil system so that you can create images or reverse foiled images from your scrap foil. That means from every panel of foil that you foil with, you can get a 2-for-1 using this tool. Now it's designed to lay on your platform of whichever foiling machine you use, whether that is the Spellbinder's Glimmer or the Crafter's Companion foil press. And as I mentioned, you can use it to transfer large areas of foil to paper. Now, let's talk about the foils that you want to use with hot foiling and with this press plate. So they are not different than what you would use for all of your hot foiling. But if you're new to hot foiling, I wanted to give you a look and tell you that these are heat transfer foils. Now, they come in rolls, and you can use both the Glimmer hot foil rolls or you can use the Crafter's Companion Gemini hot foil rolls. These are all designed to work with hot foil plates, hot foil stamping, whatever it is that you may call it. But there is one thing I want to point out on the Gemini foils. These come in both a paper crafting foil and a multi-surface foil roll, which is here on the left-hand side. You'll want to pick up the paper crafting version if you are using it with paper. So just keep that in mind as you're purchasing. Now, hot foils come in a variety of different colors and finishes, and there's about 15 feet on this roll here. So I kind of want to let you know this is not as expensive as you think because I'm going to get 30 panels, about A2 size panels out of each roll of foil. Now, I like to keep my foil kind of pre-cut in this A2 size kind of manner here. So what I'll do is I'll take my roll and I'll put it into my paper trimmer with the roll to my right-hand side. So you can see how I'm slipping that free edge right under the rail of my trimmer. And I'm gonna pull this to about the 5.5, possibly 6-inch mark, depending on the size of foil plate that you're using. Many of the hot foil cover plates that are on the market are about A2 size, so about 4.25 by 5.5. It never hurts to have a tad bit extra of foil. And I did want to mention that the Essentials by Ellen Way with Words hot foil plate, which is a sentiment plate, is a little bit longer. So I like to cut my foil to about 6 inches when I'm using that. Now, the Essentials by Ellen press plate was designed a little bit longer so that it will accommodate that longer size of the Way with Words hot foil plate. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. So I'm cutting several panels here, and what I'll do with these panels is I will then stack them up and store them in a stamp storage pocket. Now, one thing I do want to mention is this foil here is the Glimmer foil in the champagne color. It is my favorite foil of all of the foils in the land. I get great results with this. And while I've tried both the Glimmer and the Gemini hot foil rolls, I find myself going back to the Glimmer rolls time and time again. They do require a little more heat than the Gemini Crafter's Companion foil rolls, but that's my preference. Now, paper matters, and I want you to take that away if nothing else. Paper will always matter in stamping, in crafting, in coloring. There are just certain types of paper that do things better than others, and one of the best papers I've found for hot foiling is the Concord & Ninth white cardstock. It's a great weight. It is a nice white cardstock and it is super smooth, so it takes foil really well. Now that we've covered all the basics, let's get into foiling. So I have my Way with Words hot foil plate. This is from the Essentials by Ellen line on my Gemini foil press. And I have my foil press on the medium heat. This is really important when you're using glimmer foils. They do take a little bit more heat than the Gemini Junior Crafter's Companion foil rolls. So I have found that a medium heat works really well. I've laid my foil face down onto the design of the hot foil plate, and then I've added my Concord and Ninth white cardstock on top, and I've topped that off with the shim that is included with the Gemini foil press. I set my timer for a minute, and once the minute was up, I removed the platform from the base and ran that through my Gemini Junior. And I'm just gonna remove the shim here, and you can see I have a beautiful hot foiled image. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but what does this have to do with the press plate? And the answer is that the key to a successful reverse foiled image is a good first foiling of your plate. So I'm going to use the scrap foil from that first foiling, and I am going to create a reversed foiled image. Now, you're going to notice that I have turned the heat on my foil press up to the high heat setting, and I've waited for that to heat up, and I have my press plate on the platform. Now, once it's heated, I'm going to give it another couple minutes there to make sure that that press plate is heated hot. Once I know that it's heated up really well, I am going to lay my scrap foil, or what would be scrap foil, onto the plate with the pretty side facing the plate. Then I added my Concord and Ninth white cardstock and 2 cardstock shims. These are Neenah Solar White heavyweight cardstock. And I finished off my sandwich with my shim that comes with the Gemini foil press. Now, once I let that sit there for about a minute, I removed the base from the platform and I ran it through my Gemini Junior. And I actually ran it through with 2 passes. So I let it run through and then I grabbed it and sent it through again. And you're going to see when I remove the foil carrier sheet, I have a perfectly foiled, reversed foiled image. What would have been waste is now another foiling that I can make use of in my crafting. And instead of having the words in foil and the surrounding area in white, I have the words in white and the surrounding area in foil. Now, another cool thing you can do with the press plate is you can make your own foiled cardstock. So I am just taking another piece of that champagne foil and laying it pretty side towards the press plate. I've added my Concord and Ninth white cardstock, 2 heavyweight cardstock shims, and the shim that comes with the Gemini foil press. And then I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. When that timer goes off, I'm going to remove the platform from the base and take it to my Gemini Junior and run it through. Now, I was running it through 2 times here. It doesn't hurt to run it through 2 times. That just kind of makes me feel a little more assured that I've gotten all of that pressure and the heat that I need to transfer the foil to the paper. But I have done this with just 1 pass through the Gemini and been successful. Now I'm going to remove my cardstock from the press plate and I'm going to peel back that carrier sheet and look at this gorgeous piece of foiled cardstock. I can die cut it. I can trim it down into strips to use on my card projects. I mean, this is so cool. Now, that was the Glimmer Champagne. Let me show you this same technique using the Glimmer Prism foil instead. This is a gorgeous silver holographic foil. I absolutely love it. I'm going to add my 2 cardstock shims and my shim that comes with the foil press. I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. Once that timer is done, I'm going to remove the base from the platform, run it through my Gemini Junior, and then I will have a holographic silver, gorgeous, super shiny piece of cardstock that I can use in my crafting however I want. Now, I want to mention something right here. Success with hot foiling and the press plate really comes down to a combination of things. It comes down to having enough heat, enough pressure, and, in my opinion, the right cardstock. And so I'm getting great results with all these because I've kind of dialed that in. I'm sharing what works for me and the recipe that works with my machine. You may find that you need 1 less shim, or you might need a little heavier weight shim. try to experiment with that before you get too frustrated. I promise you this will work. And if you're not getting results when you've turned up the heat and you've turned up the pressure, you may want to consider the cardstock that you're using. Now, one of my favorite new techniques involves the press plate and this beautiful opal foil from Spellbinders. Now, I've trimmed down a little piece to go over this stamped and colored image that I colored onto some smooth white cardstock, and I'm laying it on the press plate just like I did with the other pieces of foiled cardstock. Now, the cool thing about this opal foil is it's actually transparent, but just holographic. So you can create this really cool holographic effect over stamped and colored images, over ink blended panels. It is like seriously my new favorite technique. And look at this boat that I colored with Copic markers. I covered with that opal foil using my press plate, and then I die cut it. It is so cool. Now I have a couple of ink blended cardstock panels. Once again, using a super smooth white cardstock. I'm using the Concord and Ninth white cardstock here. And I have the opal foil. I'm going to cover this entire panel with this opal foil. I haven't changed my sandwich up at all. I'm using my white cardstock, my foil, 2 cardstock shims, and my shim. You can see my press plate is good and hot now, so I only really need a minute, and then I can run this through my Gemini Junior. But look what happens here. I don't know if you can see it really well, but do you see that skip area towards the top of my cardstock panel here? Do you know what happened there? This panel was still a little wet. It felt dry to the touch, but the ink inside of the paper had not dried completely. So I did not get a good transfer of foil over this entire area of cardstock. Now it's okay, I can die cut that down and use it for other projects. But when these ink blended panels dry completely and you cover them with this opal foil, like I did this one here, look at those results. They are absolutely stunning. Keep in mind, I could have ink blended this panel and stamped a pattern on top of it and then added that opal foil over the entire piece of cardstock, and that would be gorgeous too. So now we're going to move into a completely different technique, and that is using toner sheets or toner printed papers with the iCraft Deco foil to create foiled designs. Now here I'm using the Modern Graphics 2 paper pack from the Essentials by Ellen line. And this foil is different than the foil that I showed you at the beginning of the video. This is a toner reactive foil, so it's only going to stick to areas where there is toner. Now I trimmed down some of this ThermoWeb iCraft toner reactive foil to fit my panel, and I am placing that with the pretty side facing my plate, and then I'm adding my toner printed or toner reactive panel here on top of that press plate. Then I'm going to add my 2 heavyweight cardstock shims, my shim that's included with the Gemini foil press, and I'm going to set my timer to about a minute, 2 minutes maybe. And once that timer's done, I'm going to remove the platform from the base. I'm going to run it through my Gemini Junior, and check out what happens, you guys. You can do this toner reactive foiling now without a laminator. You can simply use the Essentials by Ellen press plate. That's going to provide the heat to heat up that toner and cause it to react with the toner reactive foil, and the foil will stick only to the areas where there's toner. So now I have this really cool striped pattern. Now, when I first did this, I was like, wow, I got really lucky on my first try, and I'm not sure if it will actually work like that again. So I decided to try it with a different design of the Modern Graphics 2 paper pack and a different color of the ThermoWeb iCraft Deco foil, the toner reactive foil. And guess what? I got great results again. So this is a great way if you don't want to invest in a separate machine to do toner reactive foiling, to add foil to those toner reactive things in your craft room. Or if you have a laser printer, not an inkjet printer because it needs to be toner, but if you have a laser printer, you could print out your own designs and add toner reactive foil to that as well. So there I am in the reflection of this gorgeous teal foil, and check this out. I have this really cool panel. The design is where all of the foil is, and all of the white areas, or where the areas where there's no toner, there's no foil. If I would have used the other type of foil on that, it would have just covered all of the whole design. So I hope you're seeing a little bit of the difference between the toner reactive foil on toner printed areas versus the heat transfer foil that just foils solid over the entire thing. Now, I thought it would be fun to stamp some colored images or some solid images and cover them in this opal foil as well. And look what happens here. Just some beautiful iridescence that goes right over your stamped images. I did not get a good foiling on that Mondo Squishy Hug Stamp Sentiment, and that's because, once again, I didn't let the ink dry long enough for it to kind of take to that area. So if you're going to stamp images, make sure your ink is totally dry before you foil over the top. Now, I keep all of my quote-unquote scrap foil or foil that I've used to do foiling in the past in a large stamp storage pocket. And that way, when I pull out my press plate, I can go back to these what would normally be scrap pieces of foil and use them to create reverse foiled images. So I have some designs here that I foiled using Pink Fresh Studio hot foil plates, as well as some of the Essentials by Ellen hot foil plates. And I'm going to use those scrap pieces of foil and make reverse foiled images. So this is the casual greetings, and this is a reverse foiled image here. So the normal foiling would be all the areas where there's white. Here is a hot foil plate that I had previously foiled, and I saved the scrap foil and created a reverse foiled image. These two patterns are from Pink Fresh Studio, and you can see how you get a megawatt shine using these scrap pieces of foil along with the Essentials by Ellen press plate to create a reverse foiled image. Now, this is a lot of foiling, so this might be something you want to trim down into smaller die cut pieces and use it sparingly, or maybe you want to go all out and you just want to blind the recipient. You can totally do it. I love the results that I'm getting with this press plate. So I thought I would quickly just flip through the pieces that I created while I was experimenting and playing here. And then I'm going to take a couple of these pieces and I'm going to show you a couple cards that I created. So I die cut those florals that I had stamped and covered with the opal foil. I added those to a simple black and white piece of paper from the Modern Graphics 2 paper pack and added a black hot foiled sentiment. And then I added my boat onto this panel that I created with the toner background there and the teal foil. I created a little sun by ink blending and covering it with the opal foil as well. And there you have it, an in-depth look at the Essentials by Ellen press plate. I hope this answered all of your most pressing questions about this fabulous tool that is a great way to kind of stretch your foils, stretch your supplies, and kind of try something new. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to the ellenhudson.com blog. I will have that linked below. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thank you so much for stopping by today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you were inspired to try something new. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared here. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.